You have been attending well. This is the English, Science, Social Studies, Arts. I keep saying science because Miss Ash teaches. No science. I like science.
I'll talk about science.
I mean,
Let's do it.
I do a lot of genetics in World War I. You know, what can I say? Anyway, English, Social Studies, Integrated Services, and Art portion of your evening. My name is Nicole Darrow, and I am a 7th and 8th grade Social Studies and Department Chair here at Kinard. I kind of feel like I should say, welcome to my home. I've been here 17 years at Kinard, 21 years in the district. I have a current 7th grader. My 5th grader is hanging out with your 5th grader. My husband helps with the Outdoor Learning Center. I'm training my dog maybe to be a therapy dog. So next year there could be 4 of us Darrows here. 5 if my husband volunteers a little more. We'll see what we can do there. But anyway, Kinard's a great place to be. My daughters are coming from non-core knowledge elementary schools. They're coming from Cruz Elementary. And I don't sweat that they're coming from a non-core elementary. The transition here in 6th grade is wonderful. The teachers really do a great job of meeting the kids where they're at, every student where they're at, to help them develop the skills to be a lifelong learner. So if you're coming from a non-core school, I don't want you to worry about that. 35 to 40% of our kids come from a non-core elementary. So we're going to talk a little bit about what cultural literacy is and what core knowledge is. Core knowledge has been around for a while and it continues to evolve and grow. The sequence is always being looked at. As teachers and staff of a core knowledge school, we get to give input and feedback. We do work with PSD and are very much aligned with our district and curriculum, of course, as well as the state standards. So while we play bingo, listen for those key words, cross them off, and at the end, you could win some stickers. They're actually really cool. We make a new sticker every year, so it's kind of fun to see the kids' water bottles, because they'll have like several stickers, and then if you had an older sibling, you might even have a few more on there. Pretty good stuff, and they go through the dishwasher really well. I know this from experience. I don't hand wash things, dishwasher safe. So what is core knowledge? It is a community that is built on shared knowledge. It gives us a foundation when we read the newspaper, or maybe something on your phone or internet, whatever you choose to read from. It's a fabric that connects us together. That quote is from Edie Hirsch, the founder of Core Knowledge, and we really believe that there are 3 pillars in our community. It is our students, it's our parents, and us as a staff. We work together for our students. There is not one pillar that dominates the other. We will connect with you. We will talk to you. It might be an email to share what we're doing in class, or it might be a personal phone call, hopefully not on a Friday evening, but we do reach out. We want to get to know you and your student. We want to work and learn alongside you. That's super important for us. So we have a shared curriculum. So when your child comes in here and has lunch, and they say, oh, this is what I'm doing in social studies, all of them are like, yeah, that is what I'm learning in social studies, and math, and science, and English, and art, and music. So they really already form this great connection. They have something to talk about. It's what they're learning. And then they form the friendships. That's a really cool part about middle school, is seeing those new social connections as well. It's a solid and specific sequence that we do follow here at Kinard. Up next to give us some examples is Mrs. Ash and Mr. Lardner.
Hello, I'm Bradford Lardner. I teach 7th grade English, as well as a couple of 8th grade science leadership elective classes.
I'm Katie Ash, 6th grade Social Studies and Science.
And we are your guides through the core knowledge sequence in 6th or 8th grade. Starting with our English classes, our 6th grade English team does a fabulous job of taking every student, regardless of which elementary school they're coming from, and really building a middle school foundation for reading skills and then writing skills. We focus on informational, argument, and narrative writing. Those are our 3 main types of writing. And our skills and rubrics and expectations are articulated from 6th to 7th to 8th grade. So I know exactly what units and what writing they're doing in 6th grade, so I can bring them up into the 7th grade standards, not lose any time trying to figure out what they did in 6th grade. Here are some of our main stories and novels, along with a variety of poems and short stories that are sprinkled in throughout the year. So, sprinkled. Yes, so we have classic Greek myths, as well as the Iliad and the Odyssey, and those are 6th grade friendly versions that we read. We have The Prince and the Pauper by Mark Twain, and a no-fear Shakespeare version of Julius Caesar. So it has the original Shakespearean English on one side and a modern interpretation on the other side to help with that understanding. So we're building those skills in reading and writing as we start our 6th grade journey.
Journey. It's a journey. Our theme for social studies in 6th grade is what makes a civilization succeed and what makes it fail. We start with some ancient civilizations, Mesopotamia and Egypt. We spend a lot of time in ancient Greece because it ties so well with what they read in English class. We do ancient Rome and Julius Caesar. And then we move a little bit ahead into some more modern stuff with the Enlightenment, the French Revolution, and then we end our year with the Industrial Revolution and immigration. Throughout their time at Kinard, social studies students will make connections between what they're learning in history in class and what is happening in the real world. So we try really hard to incorporate current events as well, because we find that when students are able to make those connections, the information sticks so much better and it's so much more meaningful to them.
Cool, moving right along to 7th grade. Realms of Gold is our compilation of short stories and poems. So we have James Thurber and Walt Whitman and Wilfred Owen and Langston Hughes and Emily Dickinson and William Carlos Williams, which is the best name for a poet ever, William Carlos Williams. And then we read these 4 foundational texts. We have Cyrano de Bergerac, which is a French play about a swashbuckling, sword-fighting Frenchman with a large nose and a complicated identity. And we have Jekyll and Hyde, and the theme of responsibility. We just started the Call of the Wild today, and the students were led through a wilderness survival activity to see if they could withstand the harsh, unforgiving, frozen tundra of the Yukon Territory. All of them had me convinced that they could walk 20 miles through knee-deep snow in negative 25-degree weather. They were sure of this. And then we walked outside for our mask break, and 60 seconds later they were begging to come back inside. And we came back inside. So here's a little bit of the multimedia stuff that we do with Call of the Wild, but this year we're writing an argument paper. So we switch up some of the expectations and units depending on the year. And we finish off the year with Anne Frank and her diary, which is such a powerful statement, like hearing a kid who's about the same age talking about her life and what was going on during World War II and the Holocaust. So that's 7th grade.
7th grade social studies picks up chronologically where we finish in 6th grade with kind of the end of the 1800s. They start with the Spanish-American War, they move into World War I, the Roaring Twenties, the Great Depression, and then they finish with a large unit on World War II and the Holocaust, which again ties in really well with the Diary of Anne Frank.
8th grade has a robust civil rights unit, including Dr. King and Malcolm X and some films from the period to really bring the history alive. 8th grade also culminates in some pretty complex, pretty powerful texts, including The Good Earth by Pearl S. Buck. It's about pre-industrial China. Night is a Holocaust memoir by Elie Wiesel. That one is not specifically core knowledge, but all the other 8th graders in the district read that at our regular middle school, so we wanted, as an act of solidarity, to add that, have that shared experience with the other 8th graders before going on to high school, as well as Animal Farm and the original 12th Night by Shakespeare. So we built on all of these reading strategies and writing strategies to be very well prepared to transition again into whatever high school they're going into.
Wonderful. The theme for 8th grade social studies is citizenship. What does it mean to be a good citizen? Why is citizenship important? They pick up right after World War II with the breakup of the British Empire and Mahatma Gandhi. They move into a lot of the Cold War, which was really long and complex, Vietnam, civil rights, and then they end with a really big unit on the US Constitution, which ties into that kind of civics piece. because we find that as our 8th graders are growing and turning into young adults, they are starting to consider how they impact the world, as they kind of move through time.
Awesome, so that's our curriculum. As far as the rigor and support at our school, our wonderful teacher, Miss Kinard, wasn't able to be here because of the snow. But you've noticed from the list that we've talked about, there's some pretty complex, pretty tough text that we read throughout our time here at Kinard. You judge a text based on its lexile, which is the vocabulary, sentence structure, and just like meatiness of that, of that text. So a typical middle school book might be in the 500 to 800 range. Books like Holes and Tangerine are some typical middle school books. Our books, a lot of them are over 1,000, which is a 9th grade to up to like 11th grade level. 12th Night, Animal Farm, Jekyll and Hyde, some pretty tough stuff. And so we know with students coming in that they're going to need additional time and support, which we offer. We offer that in class, integrated with our activities. We offer multiple ways of learning and reading, audiobooks and different film versions that we can see. We have study guides and fantastic just comprehension strategies that we're going to be using so that each student, regardless of reading level, is going to be able to access that text, be able to communicate and collaborate with their partners and with the class, and then form their own opinion, be able to write about it. And then take that skill, build the independence, and be ready to transition on to the high school level. So in all those pictures, you can't tell who's receiving additional time and support, who's on an accelerated track or is receiving additional challenge, or who's just doing their own thing, because we know that all means all, and we're not going to pick out a kid from the whole class and say, hey, you're struggling, or hey, you're not doing very well. We're going to integrate our support, right, to make them continue to feel like part of a community and that their voice matters and that they can do it. So, move on to Ms. Garnett and integrated services. Thank you.
Okay, so like you heard Mr. Lerner say, you also heard Ms. Mackin say on the videos, most of our teachers will tell you, we ensure high levels of learning for all students, and we truly do mean all. So here at Kinard, we have 2 integrated services programs. We have a multi-categorical program which supports most students on IEPs. And then we also have an ILS center-based program that is here for students with more significant needs and supports. So for the multi-cap program, I will tell you that I believe Kinard, what sets us apart from the other middle schools is our model, how we do business. We are 100% inclusion, which means we will have students, instead of taking students on IEPs and pulling them out of the gen ed class, away from peers and teachers, to give them their lesson or their curriculum or the content, we leave them in the gen ed class with their teachers, and we push in support. So you could walk into an English class or a social studies class and see sometimes 2 or 3 different adults there to support not only students on IEPs, but all students there. We believe that this model allows students to, 1, learn from the experts, their teachers. 2, it allows them to work with their peers, to collaborate, to work on problem-solving skills, critical thinking skills, to be pushed. And then 3, we also think it allows them a sense of belonging, to really feel like I'm here, I'm able to do this, I'm able to push myself, and feel proud of the successes that they're having. We also know that we want to make sure that students are being held to the same expectations. How they get there might look a little bit different, but we're super artful on how we might give that additional support or pathway to meet those same expectations. We want to make sure that students feel like they know they're part of the class, they don't feel singled out like Mr. Lerner was saying, support. Also, all of those things are super important, but we also want to make sure that what we're doing works. So we do have to look at the data and results. And I can tell you that Kinard itself, we talk about CMAS for high achieving, which is wonderful, but we also are consistently one of the top schools in the district for growth on those tests for students on IEPs. So what it shows us is that what we're doing, our model does work. The collaboration that our team does with the teachers is supporting students on IEP students that have struggles to make sure that they're growing and feeling successful. I also told you about the other program, the ILS program. Students in that program are included in social studies and science classes. They are also part of music. They are part of art, technology. They take, we have an adaptive PE class for students to be there, partnered with their 8th grade peer buddies. And they also participate in unified sports, Special Olympics, Friday Popcorn Stand with pre-COVID, peer buddies. And what I have to say is, I also think that our school does a great job of being able to include them within our community as well. You will see all students want to jump in and help and support students that are in our ILS programs and all of these different activities. I'm going to go ahead and move it on to Ms. Urban for art.
Hello, I am Cal Urban, and I am one of the art teachers here at Kinard. One of the awesome things about Kinard is that we actually get 2 full-time art teachers. So what that does is it pretty much allows students to take both art and music. In 6th and 7th grade, they have art for a full semester. And then in 8th grade, we offer art as elective classes that they can choose to take. We have a 2-dimensional art class, which is more drawing, painting, printmaking. And we also have a 3-dimensional art class, which is more sculpture and pottery side of things. We also have an enrichment class at the end of the day during that extended learning opportunity, and that is actually an art service class. So what that means is pretty much the kids are using their art skills and their passion for art to try to better the community. So if you've seen any of the murals across the school, that's often done by those kids. They also do things where they donate their art to help Fort Collins as a community as a whole. So each year we'll do a wide variety of projects. And wide variety of mediums. So we'll do painting, we'll do drawing, we'll do printmaking, sculpting, clay, all of that. Reason for that is so kids get to really play with materials that they maybe haven't gotten to use in the past and really find something that they love and enjoy. Also, we know your kids are coming from all different elementary schools that have very different programs. So this allows us to really teach those fundamentals and technical skills in each of those mediums. All right, here at Kinard, we also believe having art in the curriculum is really important for that whole child learning that we've talked about. Art develops the brain in lots of different ways, such as visual spatial reasoning, divergent thinking, visual interpretations, visual metaphors, lots more. It's also important for some of those 21st century jobs, places like Apple, Google, Tesla, Amazon. They're looking for creativity and imagination, as well as innovative thinkers who can really combine things in new and exciting ways. All right, thank you guys so much for listening. I know it's been a pretty long night, but we really appreciate you. Also, reminder, your kids are gonna come to you, so that means you have plenty of time to stick around for the important part, which is bingo.
You really do want these stickers. They are cute. It's merch. It's merch, folks. You gotta get the merchandise. Okay, so if you have a bingo, please clearly write your first and last name on the card and then put it in the air. We'll walk around and collect them, and then we're gonna pick 2 winners. This is pretty serious, folks. Serious.
Got a bingo?